Welcome to My Entrepreneurial Journey, the podcast that's all about real stories and real strategies for women entrepreneurs over 40 who are ready to grow their businesses with purpose and authenticity. I'm Yaritza. On this show, we mix deep dive conversations with inspiring guests who share their entrepreneurial journeys alongside actionable advice tailored to help you navigate your own. Whether you are tuning in to learn practical tips or listening in for inspiration, each episode is designed to meet you where you are in your journey. So, if you are ready to leave behind the overwhelm and start building a business that reflects who you are, hit subscribe and join me each week for insights that empower your entrepreneurial path. Hey there, and welcome back to My Entrepreneurial Journey. I'm your host, Yaritza Baez, and if you're a woman in your 40s or 50s trying to build a business while juggling a full-time job, this episode is specifically for you. Today, we are talking about something that doesn't get discussed enough in entrepreneurial circles. And that's what happens when your motivation completely disappears. And I mean completely. Like you can't even bring yourself to open your laptop, let alone work on that business plan that you were so excited about last week. If you have ever felt this way, you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not broken. So let's dive in. I was talking to a friend last week who said something that really stuck with me. She said, I feel like I'm failing at being an entrepreneur because I can't stay motivated every single day. And I'm like, I thought, wow, if that's what the standard we're holding ourselves to, we're all doomed to fail, So here's the thing, and I want you to really hear this. Motivation slumps are not a character flaw. They are not a sign that you are not cut out for entrepreneurship. They are just human. Think about it. Maybe you wake up at 5 a.m. to work on your business before your real job starts. And let me tell you, I have tried that approach. I also like to tackle business tasks when, in the early evenings after I'm out of, obviously, my work, my job. I have done both, and honestly, each approach has its own challenges. You spend perhaps, your lunch breaks responding to potential clients. You sacrifice weekend family time to build your dream. Like sometimes I have to avoid not going to certain events that I get invited because I prioritize on building my business. And then one day, the fire goes out. This vision feels fuzzy. Even the thought of checking your business emails feels overwhelming. If you are nodding along right now, I see you. And you are a woman in your 40s or 50s juggling a full-time career while building a side business. These motivation crashes can feel particularly devastating. And I talk from my own experience. Let me paint you a picture of what our reality looks like, because it's different from the 25-year-old entrepreneur story we see everywhere online, especially like Instagram. Having a full-time job while building a business at this stage in life is like being a juggler who keeps getting handed more balls while the audience expects a flawless performance. Your energy is already divided between career responsibilities that have real consequences, family obligations that can't be postponed, aging parents who need more support, maybe teenagers who are going through their own drama. There are days when you are completely tired, you're just tired. That's it. And I don't mean I need a coffee tired. I mean dead tired from giving your best to your employer for 8 hours, then trying to pour what's left in your own dreams into, your own dreams. There are days when inspiration feels a distant as your teenage self believed that anything was possible. That feeling when you used to think you could conquer the world and now you're wondering if you can conquer your inbox. I have days like that. But here's what I have experienced personally and witnessed in other women facing similar challenges. This is exactly where your vision becomes your lifeline. Now, when I talk about vision, I don't mean the glossy Instagram-worthy version with the perfect fonts, the stock photo of a woman staring pensively into the distance while holding a laptop on a beach. Nobody life actually looks like that. I don't think so. At least I haven't seen it yet. I mean, the raw, honest reason you're willing to sacrifice sleep, social time, and comfort to build something of your own. Let me give you some examples of what real vision looks like or sounds like. Maybe your vision is financial independence that doesn't depend on someone else's decisions about your worth. Maybe you have been passed over for promotions, or you have watched your company make cuts that have nothing to do with performance and everything to do with budget numbers. Maybe it's creating something meaningful that utilizes skills your day job completely overlooks. You have so much more to offer than what fits in your job description, and that happens to a lot of us. Maybe it's building a legacy that reflects your values and expertise, something that says, this is who I really am and what I'm capable of. Or maybe it's designing a future where you have more control over your time and choices, where you are not asking permission to attend your kid's school play or college graduation or take care of your mom's doctor's appointment. I was one of those. This vision, your real, unfiltered why, this is what can sustain you when motivation completely evaporates. It's the difference between giving up during a difficult week and pushing through with quiet determination. So let's talk about some strategies that actually work when you are running on empty. And I'm not going to give you the typical just power through it advice, because that's not helpful when you are already maxed out like a credit card. So first, start super small, ridiculously small. When you are running on empty, forget about the ambitious evening work sessions you plan. Forget about the 2-hour Saturday morning power sessions and just commit to 10 minutes. Send one email, update one thing on your website if need be, reply to one comment on LinkedIn. I know it doesn't sound like much, but small actions compound, and there is this, and that's the secret. Completing even tiny tasks can restart your momentum. It's like, preparing for the next big thing. Sometimes you just need that first small success to remind yourself that you can do this. Second, leverage your lunch break differently. I know you're probably already using lunch for business tasks, but hear me out. Instead of always grinding during lunch, occasionally use it to reconnect with your vision. Take a walk, even if it's just around the building, and visualize where you want to be in 2 years. Listen to a podcast that reignites your entrepreneurial fire. this is what I do with my lunch breaks. I either watch funny videos on Instagram or Facebook when I need that kind of humor, things that disconnect me from anything. So because it relaxes me, and then I can take on, everything else. Or I will listen to a podcast. Sometimes I will, or reply to a message on LinkedIn. I will check post, and comment, or if someone comment on one of my posts, then I'll reply. Things like that I do at lunch, at lunchtime. And then sometimes when I go for a walk, I listen to a podcast or on my way to work. So it keeps me, bring back that motivation. Sometimes motivation needs feeding, not pushing. Third, create what I call minimum viable days. On days when motivation is low, have a predetermined minimum, the absolute least you can do, and still feel like you are moving forward. Maybe it's reading one industry article while you drink your morning coffee. Maybe it's spending time updating your task list. I do that, also. Maybe it's just opening your business email and marking 3 things as read. Progress doesn't always have to be dramatic. Sometimes it just has to be consistent. And I do that. There are weekends where I just do one thing. Maybe I work on Saturday morning and not on Sunday morning. Or there are days that I work, most times I work both days, but there are days, maybe I take one day off and then work on the next. And there are days where I don't work over the weekend. And I don't feel guilty any longer. It's just how it is. That's my reality. And I'm happy, I'm comfortable with that. So, like I said, progress doesn't always have to be dramatic. Sometimes it just has to be consistent. Fourth, connect with your future self. This might sound a little bit weird or rare, but stay with me. When your current you, your present you at this moment feels tired and uninspired, connect with your future you. I actually want you to try this. Write yourself a letter or write it on your journal from the perspective of where you want to be in 3 years. I even did a recording saying what, how I am in 3 years' time or a year's time. What will that version of yourself want to tell you about persistence during the difficult days? What will she say about the importance of not giving up right now? What will she thank you for pushing through? And finally, find your tribe. Connect regularly with other women who understand the unique challenge of building a business while maintaining career stability. And I don't mean the 23-year-old who quit her job with $47 in her bank account. I mean women who get it, who understand why you can just go all in because you have a mortgage and health insurance and people depending on you. Sometimes motivation returns simply through witnessing someone else's determination. So here's something the entrepreneurial world doesn't talk about enough. Sustainable beats spectacular every single time. We are constantly seeing stories about the dramatic entrepreneur, the person who quit their job, burned their bridges, and built an empire from nothing. And those stories are inspiring, but they are not the only path to success. There are many ways to get there. Your journey might be slower, but it's also more strategic. You have the luxury of building without desperation, of making decisions from a place of strength rather than necessity, and that is a good place to be. You can take things slower, you can think things through, and then you are not on that desperation track. You can test ideas without risking your family's security. You can pivot without panic. This patient and strategic thinking, these are competitive advantages even when they don't feel motivated at the moment. Here's the truth that took me way too long to learn. The most successful entrepreneurs aren't the ones who never lose motivation. They are the ones who have learned to work despite their lack of motivation. And that, my friends, is absolutely true. That's how I have, in many occasions, I have lost my motivation. But I kept pushing. Sometimes I will go slower than other times, but I stay consistent. They understand motivation is a feeling, but commitment is a decision. And that's how I stay on the game. That's why I keep, moving forward, because it's a decision. I decided to be successful. I decided to have a sustainable business. Your business doesn't need you to feel inspired every single day. It needs to show up consistently, even when that showing up looks different than you originally planned. Some days showing up means working for 3 hours after dinners. Some days it means sending one email during your lunch break. Some days it means just not giving up. And I'm going to be honest, there are going to be a lot of days like that if you are in your early stages. The vision you have for your business and your life, that can carry you through the days when motivation fails. It's the steady flame that burns even when the initial fire has dimmed. I want you to remember something. You are building something significant while managing competing priorities that will overwhelm most people. You are doing this while maintaining professional excellence in your day job, while being present for your family, while managing all the other responsibilities that come with this stage of life. So give yourself credit for that complexity. And remember that every small step forward is still forward movement. And that's what that's how I go by every day. It's like one small win, one action, that's one step forward. I'm ahead than I used to be the day before, just to put it that way. So, your future self is counting on your present self persistent, especially on the days when persistent is all you have. And honestly, some of my biggest breakthroughs have come right after my biggest motivation slumps. It's like the universe was testing my commitment before opening the next door. And I recall there were times where I have to step away completely from entrepreneurship, from my business. I will take like a month off or 2 or 3 weeks and listen to things that will actually, motivate me. Podcasts, read books. And then when I come back, I just have more energy. I feel refreshed and with new ideas, and so everything flows. So if you're in a slump right now, know that this is temporary. Your business doesn't need perfect motivation. It needs imperfect consistency. And you have got that, even when it doesn't feel like it. So that's what I wanted to share with you today on this episode. If this resonated with you, I would love to hear about it. Send me a message on LinkedIn. You could leave a message leave a review. Wherever you listen to your podcast. Your story might be exactly what another entrepreneur needs to hear. And remember, you are not behind, you are not too late, you are exactly where you need to be, building something meaningful at your own pace. I'll see you next time, same place. Until then, keep showing up even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to My Entrepreneurial Journey with Yaritza Baez. I hope today's episode gave you insights and inspiration to fuel your business journey. Remember, whether you are just starting out or looking to grow, you are not alone on this path. We are building our dreams together one step at a time. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you feel inspired, leave a review or share this episode with a friend who could use a little extra motivation. Until next time, keep pushing forward and bringing your unique vision to life.